On this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast, we're going to talk about nutrition and mental health, and I have a very special guest to help us along with that. And also, as usual, stay tuned because I'm going to be giving the listeners a free hypnosis guide. We'll be right there.
Burger.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, people? It is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist, and we're back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast.
Woo!
We're here in the Podcast Detroit Northville studios.
Hey, you know what? I haven't seen you in like a week.
Yeah, it's been a week.
It feels like a lot longer than that.
Does it?
Kind of does.
Yeah?
Kind of does.
Maybe I should come in more often.
I would love that.
I'll just come in all the time.
Okay.
That's not how it works.
Well, it could. It might. So those of you watching live on Facebook, thanks for jumping in. Leave a comment. I'll see it. I'll give you a shout out and, maybe throw an insult at you or two, but that's cool.
Hey,
that means we love you.
You got to be known for something.
So, yeah, check in if you're on Facebook Live. Those of you listening to the audio later, thanks for tuning in. So let me tell you where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. On my website, you'll find my podcast page along with my shop and just all kinds of other good stuff. I think I mentioned a couple episodes ago that I'm in the process of revamping that. I'm going to say that's going to be live within a week. So it'll have all the same stuff, but a new look and feel.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it looks nice. I'll say that. Great. And just for disclaimer, I didn't do it myself because I didn't want to I don't have that skill set.
Give yourself some credit.
I
you
can
had
do
some input.
I could do minor changes, but a design from top to bottom, no way. I'm not going to tackle that one.
Fair enough.
So yeah, check out the website and my store. You can find me on social media, Facebook and YouTube, Motor City Hypnotist. Twitter and Instagram are both Motor City Hypno.
Yep.
And if you'd like to contribute financially to the show, kind of help me out, help the show out, help us keep giving you good content, I do have an account on Patreon, which is a creator site, and you can just give a very small donation per month and get cool stuff like this coffee mug.
It'll cost you $1.
Yeah, it's not even.
Not even.
It's not. It might be a couple bucks.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't want to say because I don't remember. But
fair.
But take a look there. And I don't have my T-shirt on today, but you can have a T-shirt that looks just like that.
You're still
with that emblem on it.
You're still sporting the Wayne State, so
I am. I'm supporting my alma mater.
There you go.
Yep, my graduate school alma mater.
Very good.
Yeah, and by the way, my son is attending Wayne State, so he's
second generation,
following in my footsteps. Yep,
fantastic.
So, well, he's attending from home.
Well.
He hasn't been on campus yet, unfortunately. But hey,
well, with you,
whatever. And as usual, my free hypnosis guide is available. That link will be in the show notes, along with some of the other free stuff that we've started giving along the way. Mm-hmm. We still have the free Hypnosis for Confidence download. I also have a link if you want to join my private Facebook group, Empower Your Mind for Success. That's just a group where I share just tips and tricks and information and inspirational type things. A lot of the podcast stuff goes in there, especially on things that will be helpful to people. And I know that we talked a few episodes back about procrastination, and that link to the book, The End of Procrastination, How to Stop Postponing and Live a Fulfilled Life. That link is still available.
Oh,
and again,
so you finally got around to mentioning that. Okay.
I did. Yeah, I didn't put that off. Good. Yes. And just as a disclaimer, that is an affiliate link, and I just want to make that clear. It doesn't affect your price, but I do get a little bit from that.
Excellent.
Awesome. So, this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast is brought to you by Banner Season. Online marketing is saturated, and people rarely open their emails. Are you in sales or does your business market to customers? How do you connect with family, friends, and clients? Banner Season takes your marketing into the real world by delivering kindness and thoughtfulness directly to your clients physically. Imagine the excitement of your family, friends, and customers as they receive personalized cards, gifts in their mailboxes. Go to bannerseason.com/fantastic and begin today to express kindness and make connections with others. Again, that's bannerseason.com/fantastic. And again, another disclaimer, I am an affiliate for them as well. But it's a great service, especially if you don't want to remember dates and you just want to have things done automatically. Fantastic service.
Excellent.
Thus, the link says fantastic. There we go.
There you go.
It is time for our winner of the week.
All right.
That's how winning is done.
All right. So this is a mystery.
Is
This winner of the week it's a mystery, let's say.
Okay.
So in Idaho, there's a secret Santa that is giving out money and gifts to people, but they don't know who it is.
It's not me.
No, it's not. It's not anybody from here. Well, it could be somebody from here. Who knows? So let me read the story. It's moments like these. Sorry, typo. It's moments like these that make the holiday season so special. A blind man is surprised with thousands of dollars in gift cards, and a teacher is given a new car at her school. A secret Santa has been giving out gifts to people in the East Idaho community for the last 6 years. Nate Eaton, news director of East Idaho News, has been covering the mysterious donor for years. This year, more than $500,000 will be given to area families in forms of gifts, gift cards, cash, and in a couple cases, cars.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
You want to move to Idaho?
I was going to say, I got to find this town and then just stand around waiting.
Right.
So the news reporter has been following this, so that the news reporter is actually the deliverer. So he's like, this guy's like just hidden somewhere.
Oh, my
in
goodness.
an anonymous cave, and he directs the news reporter who to give these things to. The news guy delivers it.
But the news reporter has no idea
The news reporter knows.
Oh, okay.
The news reporter knows, but no one else does.
Fair enough.
And in the interview with the news reporter, the link will be in the show notes. It's a cool story. The link will be in the show notes. The reporter said the donor said he wants to remain anonymous and probably will be till he dies.
Wow. That's fantastic.
So whoever you are, your secret Santa, our anonymous secret Santa,
Yeah.
that's why he's a winner of the week.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's how winning is done.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
That's how it's done.
So, back to it.
So we are talking today about nutrition and mental health. And with me, I have a special guest. My guest today has been researching and teaching nutrition for 15 years. She specializes in nutrition for cancer recovery and prevention. This mom of 4 is passionate about teaching others the power of whole food nutrition and its role in disease prevention. Her aim is to motivate and empower individuals to make healthy choices through the understanding of how food affects the physical body, emotions, and mental health. My guest teaches several college-level courses, including the Certified Holistic Cancer Practitioner Program at the prestigious Edison Institute of Nutrition, an internationally recognized nutrition college. My guest is a highly regarded and sought-out speaker on nutrition and its role in disease prevention. She is a say-as-it-is presenter who breaks down topics into usable information that participants can go home with. Her desire to make a change in a world of preventable illness and ensures her audiences stay engaged and eager to learn more.
Wow.
My guest was nominated and awarded Best Nutritionist 2018 by National Nutrition, and again was the recipient of the Best Nutritionist 2019, receiving the National Award in Canada. Welcome to my special guest, Alisa Herriman. Thanks,
Thank you
Alisa.
for having me.
Yeah, that's quite an intro, huh?
It's always so awkward.
Yeah, is it weird to just listen about yourself when somebody else reads it?
It is. It is. I normally normally outside of COVID, travel and speak across Canada. And it's that weird awkwardness, no matter how many times I'm at the front of the room while someone reads it. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I know. Even listening to my own intro sometimes, I'm like, wait, who is this? Who are they talking about?
Yeah, I actually get friends to write my bios for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, yeah, because you get it like an outside perspective.
That's it.
Well, and I know we've talked a lot about just perspective on ourselves and our own abilities and things like that. So yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you actually get trophies with the awards?
I do. Yeah, I got some behind me. Hang on. What way do I go? Here's a few.
Oh, there they are. Yes. So it's like your Oscars or your Emmys.
I'd like to
the
think
nutrition world.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I've been teaching a long time, and I do teach at the Nutrition College, and I'm just a big believer that educated people make educated decisions. So I've just been on this mission for my career. I actually started in healthcare. And thought I wanted to be a nurse. And then when I was going through that education process and working through it, I just realized I was dealing but with a lot of preventable disease. People who had lost total quality of life to heart attacks or strokes or mismanaged diabetes or inflammatory conditions. And I ended up dropping out and pursuing a career in nutrition so that I could actually teach people how to prevent these diseases.
That's fantastic. And even though you were going towards health anyway, so I'm assuming that the whole underlying goal was to help people, but you found something more specialized or more focused that could do that.
Yeah, it's what the job I was doing while I was going through my education back then was working with people who had physical disabilities. And that was kind of my placement. So I just saw the consequences, life-robbing consequences that these individuals were dealing with. And I thought, wow, like when I would have conversations with them, be like, did nobody ever tell you what you should and shouldn't be eating? And that conversation, like they would just look at me like, well, what difference does that make?
Well, it's interesting you say it like that. Do you believe, and this is a generality, but do you think most people kind of know they shouldn't be eating certain things, but they do anyway?
I think there's so much information out there to weed through that it's incredible. It's overwhelming for me, and I'm an expert.
Right.
Like I've spent my entire career doing this, and most of us don't, or most, general people that I work with, don't go and look for scientific literature or studies to kind of back up a claim that they'll see someone's results, hear a testimonial. And there's a lot of misinformation out there because it's a huge industry. There's a lot of sales that can happen of products and programs and books and so it can be there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of misleading stuff. So I think that a lot of people are just really confused.
Yeah, that would make sense because you're right. I mean, just the amount of, and we'll go into this to kind of start off, but the amount of programs or diets out there are people just, I know people personally who've tried 10, 20, 30 different diets, quote unquote. And how do you know what's good or what is the right thing for you? Especially everybody's an individual with their own metabolism, their own issues. So how do you pick? So as far as diets go, tell me, and I almost hate to say that word because I don't even like the word of it because and let me know what you think about this, but I always feel like diet, the term insinuates that you're going to start something and stop something.
That's right.
So it's never something that because when you say diet, you've already given yourself an out because at some point the diet will end. But that's just my thought.
It's true. And, as a nutritionist, the bulk of my career was spent helping people undo the damage to their metabolism from following diets and restrictive programs. And eventually, if you do enough of them, they stop working. And then that's when you'll start to go, okay, I need to figure this out. So it's really about helping people understand how important lifestyle is. And that's always been kind of the angle that I've taught. Like your lifestyle can support a body that's healthy and resilient to disease, like preventable disease, or your lifestyle is going to be conducive to the development and growth of disease, and helping people have that understanding. And I'm very outspoken against restrictive diets and programs. Whenever we're cutting calories, cutting fats, cutting carbohydrates, whatever it is we're cutting out, it's not focusing on improving the quality of the nutrition we're putting in our body. We're focusing on restrictions. And one of the challenges with restrictions is the body will burn itself as fuel, but in a lot of cases, protein is a much faster source of fuel than fatty tissue. So most people end up with disrupted body composition where, they've now impacted their metabolism. Your muscle is what burns calories when you're at rest at night. And you've done this over and over again. And now, and there was no focus on improving, the nutrition that went in. And then we end up with these fatigued, exhausted, malnourished bodies. And then we have to go and, undo all of that with a health practitioner who's going to help us guide our way back. So it's really like, if you're looking for a program, is it focusing on improving the quality of nutrition? Is it focusing on eliminating processed foods, eliminating refined sugars? And is a minimum of 80% of your calories coming from unprocessed whole foods? That's essentially what I teach. And we know that in, the disease world, cardiovascular disease, some cancers, autoimmune conditions, diabetes, we know that individuals who focus their calories on highly nutritious whole foods, unprocessed foods, have a significantly lower risk. And there's quite a bit of scientific evidence that actually backs that up. There's been documentaries and books, and that's really what we want to focus on, is doing things that promote overall health.
And I would dare to say, at least when I come across clients that are looking, say they want to lose weight, that's their goal. They look at the numbers, but how they get there is less important than what they're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And mindset plays a huge role in the foods that we choose as well. I see a lot of I sabotaging behaviors. I messed up, so I'll start again next month or next week.
Or I messed up and had
burger.
You mess up and eat 2 or 3 hamburgers, and you think, well, why not I have 2 more?
May I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, please.
When it comes to dieting and such, a lot of folks are gravitating towards keto and ketosis and what have you. Folks that may have been diagnosed with celiac disease, is that something that can be helped through nutrition? So maybe they don't have to do ketosis, or maybe there's something contributing to that celiac disease. Is that something you help folks with as well?
Oh, for sure. So celiac disease is actually like an allergy or an intolerance to gluten, which is just a protein in some grains. And it's very difficult for most of us to break it down, especially if we eat too much. And that's like our bread products, right? In North America, we like our bread.
Oh, yes, we do.
And it causes celiac disease is the point where the damage caused by eating those foods has now produced a disease state. So there's some significant damage. So you don't need to follow a keto diet to heal that or to support your body's natural ability to heal and repair that. What you actually need to do is stop eating the food that's aggravating it in the first place, which is the gluten-containing grains.
Right.
With keto, it's a very restrictive program. So I do teach here in Canada. I teach a cancer program at a nutrition college. And, one of the therapies that we talk about or train on is the ketogenic diet. But the ketogenic diet for brain tumors and seizure disorders is not the same as this keto program that you're seeing, general public follow.
Right.
And the problem with ketosis is it's actually a backup plan for the body in times of famine. So it's very hard on our filtering organs. It can make our body a little bit more acidic, which tends to be the type of environment that like cancers like. It doesn't focus on eating nutrient-dense, high antioxidant foods. In fact, depending on the level of keto diet you're following, you might actually be reducing those foods. And those are the most disease protective foods we can eat is our fruits and our vegetables and foods from the plant kingdom. So I really strongly discourage people from following that program. If you had a seizure disorder or a brain tumor that was unresponsive to medical treatment, then we would use very specific formulas, including your weekly weight, your height, and we would be creating ratios that you would follow that truly put your body into ketosis, more for clinical, like medical reasons to help your body be in a position to be more receptive to treatments or to reduce the side effects from seizures. But that's the only time in my practice I use it.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
So
Welcome.
based on that, so when most people have a program or a diet, it's out there. I mean, we know you can look online and there's hundreds, but none of it's ever personalized to the person. They don't know what their height and weight and their medical conditions or anything that's going on.
That's
So
right.
that's like saying, well, it's like going to WebMD and just finding your own, looking for your own diagnosis, and maybe it'll be right.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, and then you can.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
So as far as programs go, I'm assuming that you would recommend that people don't just go out there and try to do it on their own, unless they know or unless they have some knowledge about what they're doing.
There's some really great education information out there, but always look at, is this lifestyle focused? Is this focusing on me eating more of the right foods and eliminating the wrong foods? As opposed to, is it making me count calories, carbs, fats, that sort of thing? When we eat natural, unprocessed foods, it doesn't really matter how much we eat. Like, my clients don't count calories or carbs or fats or anything. They focus on eliminating processed foods, refined sugars. If they're drinking a lot of caffeine, we will help reduce that because that can be problematic. If they're drinking too much alcohol, I live in Canada. Everybody likes alcohol up here. It's how we stay warm.
Well, since you said it.
And, so we look at where are the unhealthy habits showing up, and then we focus on, how can we incorporate more of the foods that provide the nutrients? Like, when we eat enough fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and legumes, we actually get all of the vitamins and minerals and protein and complex carbohydrates and fats and everything that our body needs for health. It's actually found in the food that the earth has provided for us. And as for a customized approach, if you're navigating a diagnosis, nutritionists, we don't diagnose. You got to go to your doctor for that. But if you're navigating a diagnosis, we can give you a much more customized approach. We can look at what habits are problematic, help you create some strategy and action steps to help, get out of those bad habits. Because sometimes our habits are programming that we received from childhood. My grandparents still have dessert after dinner.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean that, and think about it. Even now, if kids are good, they get a treat. It's typically candy or something like that. That's embedded into our DNA in a way.
Absolutely. And it just feeds unhealthy habits, that reward. And then there's also, especially for people who have a history of long-term dieting, there's that shame storm that can show up when we're not making good choices or we misbehaved, and then that self-talk shows up, and then that just kind of, snowballs into something else. And that's where working with somebody who can, whether a mental health professional or a health practitioner who's got good experience, that's where those people become your support system and help you just create new thoughts and new habits and, keep you out of that shame storm. Because, for most people, we need support to do anything well, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to find one person for all things. You need different people, whether it's community, books, videos, practitioners, to really create that healthy lifestyle that we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And using all those tools to help you get to where you want to be. And I think the great point is just knowing, because I think people know in general, yeah, I need to eat more healthy, or yeah, I need to eat less, whatever it is. I need to not sit and eat a gallon of ice cream at night. That's probably not a good thing, But some people do that because it gives them we go back to the whole mental health thing. It gives them comfort in some way, or maybe like you said, that they're shaming themselves in some way, and this is how they cope with it. So food is connected to emotions all the time.
Well, and with most things, if you want to change it, like you can very easily change, if you want to start exercising, you can get a membership at the gym and hopefully go. If you want to stop drinking alcohol, you just stop bringing alcohol into your home. But we all have to eat. So challenges with food is difficult because we have what we perceive as comfort foods. We have our habitual pattern, like programs that developed early on as children. And then we have this self-talk that shows up with our food, through the teenage years into adulthood. So there's a lot that goes into, nutrition, but really at the end of the day, your body has a basic requirement for a fairly large spectrum of nutrients to be obtained by your diet every day, because a lot of nutrients are not stored. So we can become deficient in them very quickly if we don't eat enough of the right foods often enough. And then, when we don't eat enough of these foods, we end up deficient, and then we end up with symptoms of deficiencies, which, common symptoms are fatigue, restlessness, not sleeping well, digestive disorders. It can aggravate mental health conditions because our brain needs such a large variety of nutrients. And it's just really, really important to be focusing on eating quality nutrition and getting support if you need it to do that. And there's some good, like one of my favorite documentaries is the Forks Over Knives documentary.
Oh, yep. I saw it. In fact, I saw that was one of the first, I guess, I would call a vegetarian documentary that I watched, but it was very insightful. And again, I always try to, and not downing it in any way, but I always want to be careful and think, okay, I know this is coming from a pro-vegetarian's viewpoint, but the points they brought up were very valid. In fact, since then, and I think because Matt, both he and my wife have compromised conditions.
Autoimmune conditions.
Yeah, autoimmune issues. My wife has psoriatic arthritis, which is an inflammation issue. And we looked at going more vegetarian, quote unquote, for a while. But it's like anything else. Unless you make it a habit, it's not going to stick unless you just commit to it and say, this is what we're doing right now.
That's why I asked the question about the ketosis for my wife. Because that's something she would like to try, and she talked to her doctor about it, and he was supportive of the idea, just based on what her autoimmune is. So, and I think
you really want to navigate that with somebody who's an expert in that field, right? Like what would we do without our doctors? Like, I have 4 children. If we got a problem, the first thing we do is call our doctor, right?
Right.
So I think it's just most of them have little bits of information, whereas, a naturopathic doctor or, a registered nutritionist are going to have just a little bit more of an understanding of the therapeutic effects of nutrition. And I don't talk about eating plants as like you only should eat plants. Like I'm not 100% vegetarian at home either.
Right.
The problem is, especially in Canada and the United States, is we eat a lot of meat, a lot of bread products, a lot of processed foods, and the amount of calories that we're getting in from unprocessed whole foods is so much smaller than it should be. Like most health or cancer organizations, like across the board between Canada and the US, recommend consuming anywhere between 7 and 13 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Wow.
Whoa.
That'll make
Think about how many you had today.
I was going to say, how much does one apple count for?
Counts as one. So a handful is a serving, right? Yeah. But think of how far, I think here in Canada, and it's been a while since I've looked up the statistics, but I think we're serving and a half, 2 serving a day average people, right? Lots of meat. We love our meat, our bread, our milk. Yep. And, a lot of this has just been passed on, but we're just not eating enough of the foods that provide the nutrients. And our top 2 causes of death in Canada are the same as you guys. We're a little bit different, but it's cancer and cardiovascular disease.
Yep.
Right? And you guys, I think, are cardiovascular disease and cancer second.
Yep.
Right? Well, cardiovascular disease, in my opinion, based on what I know as of right now, is very, very preventable. It's a disease that shows up based on the lifestyle that we're living.
Right.
And most cancers are not genetic, which means they're environmental, lifestyle related.
Yeah.
And again, diet plays a big role. There's other things, stress management, environment, but diet really is very important. And we're not going to find a quick fix. What we need is to teach people what a healthy lifestyle looks like. And that's why I love the documentary Forks Over Knives, because for so many people, they watch that and it's just so eye-opening. And that's based on science. That documentary was based on a very large scientific nutritional study.
Yes.
Actually, our good friend Alan checked in. And he said, hey, listening to the show while cooking dinner, which happens to be tacos. Awkward. Hey, you know what?
Alan checks in every week. Hey, Alan.
Da-da-da-da, like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
You're making tacos. That's what it is. Thanks for checking in, Alan. We appreciate it.
Grab some tomatoes, some peppers.
Some lettuce.
Yeah, some
Yeah,
lettuce.
right, yeah. Just fill
We
it
made bowls
fill it
today.
with veggies, Alan.
There you go.
Just add some. At all points, add fruits and vegetables.
Add something onto it. So, Alyssa, we're gonna be back next episode and continue our discussion on nutrition and mental health, because I know we probably barely scratched the surface. So, make sure to check in on next episode. We're going to continue with our special guest and get into more information about nutrition, about your mental health, what changes you might be able to make that's going to make you feel better. So, join us for that on next episode. In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life. Laugh hard, run fast, be kind. I will see you next time.